Good morning, everybody. I'm the Reverend Ellen Quaadgras, minister at South Church, and I serve in co-leadership with Kirsten Hunter, our director of Lifespan Ministry. Together, we share this ministry with all of you, a ministry of welcome, of care for one another, and of seeking higher purpose in a sometimes chaotic world. Whether you are joining us online or here in the sanctuary, welcome. Welcome to this time for reflection, this time to find sanctuary, to pause and maybe just exhale together. Maybe we could do that. I've been wanting to do that ever since Johnny did it with everybody during Music Sunday. So let's take a deep breath. That was good for me. This morning, in this time and space, we get to hold so much that is happening in the world and in our lives, so many questions we have about what's happening in our world and in our lives. And today, we don't just get to hold those questions, we actually get to ask them, literally, because today is Question Box Sunday, a new tradition where you get to ask questions of me and Kirsten right in the service. Not because we have all the correct answers, although boy, I wish there were correct answers, but because we want to offer an opportunity to question, to have those questions, to further conversations, and to wonder aloud together. It's meant to be fun, a little whimsical, and pretty spontaneous. And while I confess, as I do every year, that I really prefer to have every single word written down, this is a terrifying, helpful stretch, useful, playful, good kind of thing that we do in churches. We stretch ourselves in healthy ways. So that's what this morning is partly about. You will find a note card in your order of service, or if you don't have one, our ushers can bring one to you. You can just raise your hand if you want a note card. Feel free to jot down your question anytime before the offertory. And if you're at home and want your question included, just pop that right into the chat. But do that well before the offertory so that Jen or Ben have time to write it on the card so they can be included during the collection. You can ask just about anything, although if you have lawn care or car repair questions, you may better ask your neighbor or your mechanic. But if you've got questions about this community, about Unitarian Universalism, about God or not God, about meaning or how it sometimes goes missing, this is your opportunity. Big questions, small questions, write them down, put them in the box during the offertory. We will answer as many as we can, and all those that we cannot may well show up in newsletter articles or sermons in the future. I'm grateful to be here this morning with Mitch Pivor, our worship associate, who'll be offering opening words and sorting and handing us your questions. Also with Jen Deo-Barry, who is preparing things downstairs. I believe she's going to be leading our Time for All Ages, and I hear there may be questions in that part too. Susan Adams will be serenading us. She's somewhere mysterious right now. Serenading us with music to lighten and deepen our experience, and also with Cathy, Okhuysen, and Jen Leyden leading us in song. Many thanks to Ben Abbott, who's making sure this whole experience is shared with the wider world through our live stream. After the Time for All Ages, children are invited outside with Jen for their own time of learning and connection. And after the service, all are welcome to the portico for refreshments and continuing conversation, including this question to spark conversation. If you could ask someone from history one question, who would it be and what would you ask? Or, what's a question you wish someone would ask you today? For those who need them, there are large print hymnals and assisted listening devices available in the back, and I have a couple of announcements. In addition to all the wonderful things happening in your order of service, I encourage you to check it out. There is a group planning to attend the City Council meeting on Monday at 7 p.m. at City Hall to ask that the city and police department respond differently to ICE. You may have seen that there were 4 workers who were arrested by ICE last week in a very troubling encounter that we've been seeing all over the country. People can contact Reverend Kendra Ford for details about the process of speaking at the council, or you can also come and not speak, simply be there in solidarity. Her email address is in your order of service. We have a poetry gathering happening after worship today on our theme, our summer theme of play. So if you have a poem on play that you love, or one that you've written, or a poem that leaves you feeling playful or lifted up, come and share it. We'll meet in the Carson room. All are welcome. And finally, this Thursday upcoming is National Day of Action for those concerned about our democracy, our economy, or the climate. From 5 to 7 p.m., there'll be a peaceful gathering in Market Square. If you want to get creative and connected beforehand, South Church is one of the sponsors of a sign-making event at 4 p.m. at the Temple Israel. Use the Court Street entrance, and then that group will go over to the rally together. So all are welcome to come to that. Before we fully begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the land beneath our feet, because we gather this morning on land that was home to the Abenaki and Pennacook peoples, among others, stewards of this region for thousands of years before European settlers arrived. Their presence and care for the land continue, even if too often unrecognized. We honor their resilience, and we remember that this land was taken, not freely given. May we acknowledge this not as an ending, but a beginning, an invitation to learn more, to listen more deeply, and to act with greater justice and humility in our shared life. Please silence your cell phone if you haven't already, as we now invite the invocation.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery. What are we? Life. Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery. What are we? Life. Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Well, with those voices coming from the sky, we light this chalice today as we light our chalice here, we invite people watching at home to light a chalice of their own or a candle. We light this chalice today with these words by Reverend David Breeden. We gather here honoring mystery, honoring discovery. We gather unafraid of Pandora's boxes, knowing that hope lurks always within. We honor discovery, celebrating each question, propelling us forward, each answer a newfound foothold. Every enigma beckons us to dance in the mystery, in the sacred interplay of chaos and order. of silence and resonance, of words articulated or unheard. Let wonder steer our course as we assemble, united in the mystery that weaves us into this wondrous tapestry. Now, please rise and join us, if you're able and willing, in reading our mission statement printed in the order of service. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. Today is Question Box Service Day, now a tradition. This is the third year we've had the opportunity to ask questions to our co-leadership ministry, Reverend Ellen and DLM Kirsten. Oh why, oh why, oh why. I love asking questions. For me, questions are more interesting than the answers. Questions of what, how, who, where, why. Questions like from the poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter by Lewis Carroll. The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings. Or Dr. Seuss' famous questions, do you like green eggs and ham? Did you ever see a wocket in your pocket? Did you ever see a zizzer, zazzer, Zeus? Did you ever see a gox in a box? Now, hearing this as a young person, I love these whimsical questions. Of course, I knew they were ridiculous. And then I went to college, then medical school, then residency in pediatrics, then fellowship in pediatric kidney disease, and lab basic research in DNA and mRNA, and then back to general pediatrics. And my training was to seek the truth, the scientific method. Does the data support the conclusion? And now after all that education and working in pediatrics for the last 40 years and being exposed to wonderful children's questions and having mentors along the way of encouraging upside-down thinking, I've come to the belief that in thinking and asking the ridiculous, one may find the truth to guide us. I now might ask myself, well, how do I know if the sea may become boiling hot, and that maybe pigs will grow wings, and maybe one day I'll find a wocket in my pocket? And these upside-down questions give me hope that, yes, the world can be a better place, that for this to happen, we must keep asking questions, questions for our environment, questions for our society, questions for ourselves. And at present, the world seems upside down, and we must remember the past and the history of times of hardship, censorship, genocide, and the times the world has turned around, rebounding like a ship that does not sink as it rolls over but fully flips back upright. And this gives me hope. And questions for myself. So I ask, when I feel I am stuck and down, I want to fly, but stuck on the ground. For when I feel I cannot, I ask myself, why not? For bluebirds fly over rainbows, so why not? And I sing a line that I love. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. And if birds fly over the rainbow, so why, oh why can't I? And then I imagine having wings and believe, yes, I can. And yes, we can, as we gather together to support each other. May it be so. Now let us stand or fly, embody our spirit, and sing our opening hymn, Gathering Here, 389 in the gray hymnal.
We'll sing the round once all together, and then I'll start with this side, and Jen will lead the folks on the other. draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in the struggle from the body. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in the mystery of the body. Gathered here in the struggle from the body. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in the mystery of the body. Gathered here in the struggle from the body. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. And now we'll have a time for all ages. So any kids, teens, and even adults who would like to come up, please join me right up here. Max is ready. So, today, church is all about asking questions. And you can always ask questions here anytime you want. We are all about the questions. In the church that I grew up in, you could really only ask certain kinds of questions. Not all kinds of questions were allowed. And so I love that we can ask questions all the time, and we even devote a special day just to questions. And so the grown-ups are going to get their turn for all their questions. But for this time, we want to invite kids and teens to ask questions that you have. And some of you have prepared a question, but any of you who have one, if you didn't get a heads up about this, if you think of one while we're talking, you can ask one too. So the question can be about anything to do with our church, or Unitarian Universalism, or something about Reverend Ellen or Kirsten. It's a good opportunity. And if you would like to ask it into the microphone, I'll gladly hold it for you. Or if you would rather write it down and have me read it, or even whisper it in my ear, that's also fine. So, you want to say it out loud? Okay, so Max is going to go first. Max has a burning question.
Why do we go to church? Can we have a special coffee hour at all? Or have an ice cream sundae, apparently?
So there are a few questions in there. Why do we go to church? Can we have a special coffee hour with ice cream sundaes?
It sounded like two. Were those your two questions, Max? So the special coffee hour is separate from the ice cream sundaes. Okay. I'm going to work backwards because absolutely for ice cream sundaes, yes, let's talk some more about when is a good time for that to happen. And there is actually a special coffee hour coming up. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to tell you about it. Did you know that the lady in the back of the church with the flowered dress on has been working at this church for almost 10 years? Jen Leyden, who's back there smiling and feeling awkward because I'm pointing to her and outing her, will be celebrating her 10th anniversary on August 15th as our church administrator. And we're going to have a special coffee hour, Max. On August 10th, there's going to be cake. Maybe we could also have ice cream. And we're going to be celebrating that lady. And between now and then, or any time this year, I encourage everybody to take a little time to send some love her way, because committing 10 years to a place is a pretty powerful thing. And then the third one, could I pass to you, Ellen? Why do we go to church?
I was really wanting to answer the ice cream sundae one. But that's one reason we go to church, is because we do fun things about like having ice cream sundaes. And we also come to church to learn from our young people and to connect with that energy both ways, for the fresh ideas from the youngest among us and some of the wisdom from those who've been around a little while on this earth. And one thing that's cool about being Unitarian Universalist is that everyone has their own reason to come to church. Everyone has their own thinking about what draws you here. Everyone has their own emotional place that you're in right now. And all of those can be reasons why you come to church. And I would love to hear from you why you all come to church. It's always really interesting for us to hear about that as we're planning services and thinking about all of you and how to help each of us become more of who we want to be in the world.
Thank you. All right, now I think Allie and Zoe have a question. Do one of you want to read it? Or say it into the microphone? Zoe, do you want me to start with the one that's in my pocket? Okay. I have an anonymous question here. This is your only one, okay. Where is the hot cocoa? We need to get Kevin and Jan up here.
Apparently, the fact that hot cocoa is a seasonal option at social hour has created a bit of contention in our congregation. The simple answer is the hot cocoa's in the kitchen, and the more complex one is that it'll be back in September.
Okay, who else has a question who is under 20 years old?
For either of you, if you could add one word or letter to jet pig, what would it be?
So just for context for folks in the room, jet pig are the 6 values that have recently been adopted as emblematic of the core values of Unitarian Universalism. So we are fueled by love, and jet pig is a mnemonic. It's justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interconnection, and generosity. So those are the 6 that already exist. And now we're supposed to come up with a word each. You got one?
I would add joy to that. I think I've been reading a lot about joy, which is the way you do it, right? You read about it, and and that is good. But I feel like when times are hard, joy becomes even more important. And I think the more we can infuse all of those values that you just so beautifully named with joy, the more we'll be able to live them fully.
I love that. The word that popped in my mind was humility, which I just think that I have found that it serves my life in a really powerful way, and the folks who I see that alive in are some of the people who inspire me most in the world. So I'd go with humility. Thanks, Harper. Great question.
Okay, who else has a question? Oh, is that one a grown-up question? It's from your mom? Yeah.
Rev Ellen, when and how did you decide you wanted to be a minister?
When or how?
When and how did you decide you wanted to be a minister?
I decide every day, fresh, anew. And it's a great question because it does feel like a daily commitment, as any of us make a daily commitment to live our values. And today, it feels like doing ministry in the world feels particularly meaningful. And when times are troubling and dark, We are called to reflect on where we are how we're going to show up to that. And I love the fact that I get to do that for myself and with all of you. We get to do it together. And that's part of why I choose to be a minister, why I chose it in the first place, and why I choose it every day now. How about you, Kirsten? Why do you choose to be a spiritual leader?
I like that idea of choosing it every day, and for me, my ministry is teaching, and I was born into it. My parents were teachers, and I grew up in a educational environment where teaching was just in the air, and it's just something that lives in me. And so, yeah, I don't know that I ever really chose it so much as it just has always been there.
Okay, do we have one more question from this group?
What are your guys' favorite rooms in this church?
I mean, it's hard to not look at this one, but I will lift up a secret little room downstairs in the back corner of the program space that was painted by our former sexton and a whole bunch of South Church kids. It's called the meditation room, and it is, when you walk in there, the walls are this beautiful mottled metallic blues and greens and golds with all these beautiful symbols, and I really love that room too, but yeah, it's hard to look past this one. How about for you, Ellen?
Yeah, certainly this room is awesome and awe-inspiring. And the other room that came to mind is the second floor of 73 Court Street, which just has such a rustic and welcoming feel to it. If you've never been there, I invite you to just take a visit and walk around. It feels like a space in which you can ground yourself and expand your view of the world. You can also see kind of over you can see around you people walking by and just get a sense of what it means to be part of humanity.
Okay, thank you both very much. And remember, you can ask questions all the time. It's good to practice asking questions and to be curious. But for right now, we're going to go blow some giant bubbles outdoors for anyone who'd like to join us.
Each week, we do an offering to help support the church and also places in the community. During the month of July, our collection will be shared with Mainstream Collective through a centralized and collective model incorporating many area social service partners. Mainstream offers a dignified, efficient, and effective model of care that empowers individuals to navigate the pathway out of poverty. During the offering, please place your offerings in the baskets being passed, and please place your questions in the separate question boxes being passed. May the offering and questions collection begin.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and they're far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Before we turn inward together, I want to let you know that beloved and longtime member Carla McCabe passed away peacefully on Friday morning, July 11th. Let us gather our hearts in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life and love, we pray for Carla's family and all her dear friends, for a kind of loss that, no matter how expected, can still shake us deeply. May all her loved ones feel our care surrounding them in the days ahead. And we pray for all those carrying a quiet ache, those at bedsides or waiting test results, those navigating illness or heartbreak, or holding the weight of any kind of uncertainty in their lives. We pray, too, for communities facing tragedy, for those grieving in Central Texas, wading through tall grass, diving into that deep, wide river, searching for what can never truly be found. We hold close the parents and grandparents, the neighbors and friends, even in that added ache that such a tragedy could perhaps have been avoided. We widen our hearts to include those grieving far from here, in Gaza, Ukraine, Sudan, every place where devastation rages. May we not turn away. Here in this space, in this sacred time together, may we hold, even for a moment, what is too heavy to carry alone. So that in the facing of what's hard, something new, something in us may be renewed. What courage might awaken, what clarity, what next act of love. The person next to you in the pew this morning is carrying something, and still they showed up. So many show up with kindness, with purpose, and with more strength than we may ever see. And may we see in ourselves not only ways we may not fully meet what we think is needed, but may we see the quiet good we already do, the care we give, the hope we plant, sometimes simply by just showing up. May we remember we inspire one another. Your courage, your care, your presence matters, even if we can't always see it in ourselves. Each of us makes a difference. May we take heart from being here, from this circle of care, from the long line of people who have drawn strength in this place before us, who came with grief and joy and found something to carry forward. We are part of a great eternal dance that holds what's hard, lifts up what's beautiful, inspires and accompanies, and reminds us that joy, still rising, always rising. Joy connects us with one another, too. May it be so. Amen and namaste. In the spirit of all we've just held in prayer and in the spirit of whatever you are holding in your heart, I now invite any of you into a time of reflection as the music plays, or to light a candle if you choose. Each flame a sign that we are not alone, and a reminder of joy held, of sorrow held, or joy that warms and connects. May these candles kindled by us kindle in us a deeper care for ourselves, for one another, and for this aching, beautiful world. And here we go.
Many wonderful questions, and I wish we can ask them all, but I know that Reverend Ellen and the alum Kirsten will review them and things. So I just had to pick a few because of time and things, and it's just wonderful to hear all the thinking that goes on. So the first question, what things or practices build your spirit or faith during difficult times in your life or the world?
Say that one more time.
What things or practices build your spirit or faith during difficult times in your life or the world?
For me, this place is a huge source of inspiration and a sense of hope. This place gives me a sense of hope. I also have a regular poetry practice that involves reading poetry and writing in reflection around what comes up for me and as I experience that poem. And I'm a gardener. Those are, I would say, the three top for me.
Yeah, for me, this place also, I think, is a primary way. There's just so much good that happens here and so much positive energy that uplifts, I think, all of us. I think for me also exercise lately, I've talked a lot about this. Running has been a surprising spiritual practice for me. And connecting with people. I'm in a 12-step group, and we're invited to make 3 calls every day, even if it's like 1 minute long, to just be like, hey, are you here? I'm here. We're connected. We're human. It's okay. We're okay. We're okay in this moment, which definitely bolsters me, particularly when there's challenging things happening around me or that I need to be part of.
What does it mean to be people of faith in a congregation of no creed and mixed beliefs and non-beliefs?
Well, I want to ask you all, what does that mean to you? What does it mean for you? Again, echoing what I said earlier with the young people, I think it's different for each of us. We're all in a different part of the path. We're all in a different part of our own path. Could have been one thing last year. It might be something different this year. And I think that's part of what discernment is about. What speaks to you when you come to worship on a Sunday morning? That may be the thing that you can then spend a little more time on and reflect on and go deeper with.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think what having no single creed helps invite us into is the practice of pluralism, is the understanding that really within any congregational space there's a wide range of how people interpret and hold meaning. And so I find it liberating to be in a faith where we really acknowledge that that's not where we are united. That's actually a place where we can be curious and practice that spiritual, that practice of pluralism, which we value in this faith so deeply, but also I think is what the world needs. We are a global world of such diversity, and we need spaces to practice across differences, not just across sameness.
Which leads into, how do you envision outreach to various communities, young adults, other UU churches, Seacoast communities, and what kind of support would you seek?
How do you outreach?
Yes. How do you envision outreach to various communities of different ages, different areas of the Seacoast, and what kind of support would you seek? Also?
Yeah, I love that. I didn't realize we'd have chances to queue things up in this, but it makes sense that of course we would. But as a staff team this spring, we talked about setting a sort of central idea around which we can all set goals for the coming year, and we're going to be bringing this invitation to the wider congregation. What we've chosen to focus on this year is the concept of bonds and bridges. And so outreach to me is, there's two things about strengthening community, which feels like a call of our times. And one is strengthening the bonds, the connections we have across sameness, across intimacy, as well as connecting our bridges across differences. So within our faith, as we were just discussing, pluralism, this idea that there are different perspectives within the room, is an opportunity for us to create bridges between one another. And we can also create bridges with other faith communities on the seacoast. We can also create bridges with organizations that are doing mission work aligned with our own mission. We can create bridges with folks who think differently about the world than we do within the context of our shared values. So that would be my immediate answer, is thinking about what is here now and how might we strengthen the bonds and the bridges between all those different groups.
That's a great description of the sort of philosophical approach. And I will say concretely, one of the things we've been creating with groups around the seacoast is called Unity Hub. There's a bunch of folks from South Church who've been participating in this. And the basic idea is that there are a lot of organizations and movements happening right now to resist authoritarianism and to promote democratic principles. And we're looking to help these folks unify and come together and pool our resources. So that is something that we're working on right now. And in fact, the sign creating offering I mentioned earlier in the announcements is part of that. So it's a more social opportunity while you're making signs to talk to people who are connected, but also coming from a different perspective. And we're going to keep building that in this time.
Which leads to the next question. What is the result of the many in-church conversations that have happened regarding the direction of South Church, or visioning weekend and reflection groups? And
what was the first part?
what is the result of the many
results?
in-church conversations that have happened regarding the direction of South Church?
Yeah, well, as it happens, just yesterday, Kirsten and I were part of a conversation with our consultant, Rachel Maxwell, who is helping guide us through that process. And we started conversation about what's called the 5-year strategic financial plan, as well as more conversation about crafting the vision that was started at that weekend back in May, and actually articulating that into something that the congregation gets to respond to until it's something that really feels like it holds the central vision of where we're going. And then we're also going to take a lot of those ideas that the congregation generated in those reflection circles, those visioning circles, and at that workshop, and help them to inform this 5-year strategic financial vision. So we're just getting started. Well, we're actually in the middle. We're not just getting started. We're in the middle, and we're moving forward, and it's very exciting, I think.
Just if you are newer here or you're not aware, we have been involved in a visioning process here in the congregation to sort of get clear on where are we and where are we headed, and that's what that question was in reference to. And if you haven't been involved so far in participating in that process, but you have thoughts or things you'd like to share, we would love to hear it.
Just a little bit more about the why. It just feels so exciting to me that we are doing this right now. It feels so right to be rethinking, clarifying, coming together around a vision at a time when we need people unifying around common cause. So I think it's wonderful that South Church has decided to do this, and many of you have already participated, and I hope that you will in the future as well.
And I think we're out of time.
What?
Are we? One more?
One more. Well, maybe an easy one. Which
Or a
of
really
course
hard
is not
one.
easy. How do I hold dear family and friends that vote and hold different views than I do?
Yeah, that's an easy one. It is not an easy one, and I think that we've touched on some of the answers that I would offer around that. Starting with humility, human beings, we share something. All of us share something that is really core, which is if we feel seen by one another, we are way more willing to bend, to shift, to open our hearts than if we feel judgment. And I think especially in these times, there are some really painful ideas that people are holding, and it's hard to see the humanity behind ideas like that. And so it's very easy to be in a place of judgment, and that place of judgment shuts down the very thing we're longing for, which is finding a way to break open some of the hatred and the divisiveness that has been spoon-fed to so many of us. So, humility for me does not mean that you aren't clear in your own morality and your own values. Humility is that you leave space for another person's story, and you recognize that there is inherent worth in that other person, even if some of the choices they're making are causing harm to you or to anyone else. So that's not an easy answer to not an easy question, but for me, how do I recognize that I am being judgmental, and how do I shift my language toward more curiosity, toward more clarity of where I stand, but leaving space for that person to potentially change. Because when we do that, the possibility is far greater that someone can evolve.
And I'll just say briefly, building on what Kirsten just said, I think really important, the foundation is a relationship. It's only within a relationship of trust that anyone will ever change their mind. And that starts with curiosity. But even before that, it starts with ourselves. We are being invited to be discouraged. We have to imagine that this is possible. We have to imagine other people as our ally, that we're all fundamentally human in a human situation together, and to keep looking for that common ground, even if it's just one tiny square inch. Keep looking for it in yourself, keep looking for it in others, and keep the hope, because I think that's where it has to begin, is having hope that we can make a difference just one-on-one, one conversation at a time.
Wonderful, and as I said, all your questions will be read.
They will.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. And let's rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn. It's number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, comes out at night. Without the dark, there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world.
After we close the worship today with the postlude, I invite you to turn to someone nearby, ideally someone you do not know well, say hello, and share that question you would love someone to ask you. Or maybe talk about one of the questions that stayed with you that we addressed this morning. May your conversation be part of the dance of curiosity we begin here today. As we have moved together through questions large and small, through laughter, wonder, and maybe a little holy uncertainty. Like a dance, we don't start knowing every step, but we show up and listen and respond. We keep moving with the questions and making space for each other in all our curiosity, all our courage, and all our becoming. Go in peace, go with questions, and let it be a dance. Amen.